Hey everyone, this is Dave Pipe, Motorcity Mechanic. I've got a video for you today on replacing the transmission solenoid pack on front-wheel drive Chrysler, Dodge, and Plymouth vehicles. You can find these on what they designate as 41 TE transmissions and 40 TE transmissions as well. So check out this video. In order to get that transmission solenoid pack, we need to get access to it, which means we need to get this air filter assembly out of the way. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the hose that goes up to the valve cover. We've got an air temp sensor right here. We need to press in on the connector and pull it up. After that, we need to go ahead and work on getting this band clamp off this rubber inlet right here. And then we'll work on getting this whole assembly out of the way so we got a little bit more room to get to it. Now usually right here where the snorkel comes up, there's a plastic fastener holds it in place. This one's actually broke off, but if there is one there, you need to pop it off using anything from a trim stick or one of them door popper tools. And then we got a 10mm right here we need to get out of the way. Now on this back corner here, there's actually usually a bracket held in place. It routes one of the harnesses. I'll show you once I get it off what the bracket looks like and where it goes. Now with the bolt out of the way and the snorkel plastic fastener out of the way, now all we got to do is kind of grab the filter assembly and kind of pull up. Because on the bottom, we've got a place where we got two rubber grommets, which also have two mounts right here on the frame rail that go through it. Now, that wiring harness routing where I was telling you right here, hooks in right here. And if you look real close, you can actually see it right here. This is actually the harness that was down there. I could reach around the backside and pull it up before I got this filter box out of the way. With the air filter box assembly out of the way, now we've got access to getting to this transmission solenoid pack assembly that I'm pointing to right here. We can see a lot more of it now. We got a few more things to get out of the way before we can actually get it out. But it bolts to the top front of the transmission. It has a total of three 10mm bolts that are probably about a good 3-4 inches long. And one of the things we got to do, we got to get the connector off of it, and we need to get the transmission input speed sensor out of the way because it's right above one of the bolts that we're going to be taking out. Once we get those out of the way, we'll be able to get more access to it and work on getting it out. Alright, so we need to go ahead and get this input speed sensor disconnected. Now it has two speed sensors. The one closest to the engine is the input. The one furthest back is actually the output. All you got to do is lift up on the lock and pull it out of the way. Now the transmission solenoid pack connector over here, to gain access to that, the best way is actually to kind of reposition this radiator hose. And right down in here, there's actually an 8mm bolt holding it down. So we'll get us a socket and a ratchet, and we'll back this all the way up, and we'll lift the connector up and move to the side. Here's that connector I was telling you about for this solenoid pack. I just got me a 1/4 inch of an 8mm socket. Now I'll start backing it all the way out. Once I get it all the way out, all I gotta do is lift up on it. Backing it out, it actually raises it up out of the actual solenoid pack as you're backing out of the bolt to a point. Once you got it all the way up, then it's a matter of, I got a little bit more. There we go. I just lift up and move to the side. Now as you see, we got a whole lot better view of everything as far as the solenoid pack. We can start seeing where the bolts are. And now what we're going to need to do, I want to go ahead and blow this area off because a lot of debris likes to collect in the back. And the last thing I want to do is after I get ready to pull the solenoid pack back, have any kind of debris go inside the transmission because there are some openings in here up under this solenoid pack. And like I said, I want to go ahead and blow everything loose, get your air blower, try to get everything out of here the best you can. If you want to spray it down for a little brake clean, then blow it out as well till it's straight off, great. Try to get as much of the debris out of the way as possible. Now the input speed sensor is got a 1-inch hex head on it, so just get you a 1-inch socket, deep socket if you can, get on it, just back it out. Once you break it loose, you can basically do it by hand. And this right here is your transmission input speed sensor. We'll set that to the side to reinstall in a minute. Now at this point, all we have is 3 10mm bolts on it down. You can see this one that was directly below that speed sensor. We got one on the other side over there where the connector was. So we need to go ahead and start getting access to them, get you a long extension, 10mm, and we'll start backing these 2 off, and then we got the third one on the other side. So I've already broke them loose, and I want to back them all the way out. There's 1, there's 2, and then there's finally number 3. At this point, go ahead and get you a catch pan and put it up under the transmission, because once we pop this solenoid pack loose, we're going to have some fluid loss. Whatever level is up to the bottom of that solenoid pack is going to want to leak out. Now, the solenoid pack is kind of stuck in place. When I say stuck, what I mean is the gasket's holding it in place right now. So we're going to go ahead and pop it loose. All I do is give me a pry bar, find me a spot on the transmission up against the solenoid pack. Now keep in mind, we do have all 3 bolts out. As long as the 3 out, there shouldn't be no problem. Just find you a spot and pop it. There we go. Just came all the way off. As you can see, we've got some fluid starting to build up in here. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to work on cleaning the gasket area, removing the old gasket, and we're actually going to try to suck some of the transmission fluid out through these openings. I've got an air evac system, and I'm going to remove the excess in there and get it down to a level below here, and we're going to clean it off, and then we're going to worry about getting the new solenoid pack put on. I like to use a razor blade when I'm getting the old gasket off. I just find a corner to get up under, and sometimes if I'm lucky it comes up in one piece, but usually if it's been on, or if it's the original, it's kind of a tendency to stay attached and kind of ripping as it comes off. We'll get what we can off. We might get lucky and get most. For the most part we do. We got a couple more pieces stuck down here, but we'll use that razor blade to go around to clean the excess that's still stuck down there. And like I said, we'll work on getting some of this fluid out of here as well, and we get down to a safe working level to where we can actually work on getting the new gasket on and the new solenoid pack. So we'll get the old pieces off, and we'll go ahead and start cleaning the surface up.